Greetings, everyone. I'm excited to welcome Shai Gabay, co-founder and CEO at TrustMi, to the show today. Shai, welcome.
Hi, a pleasure to be here and thank you for hosting me.
Yeah, great to have you here. So let's dive in. Tell us a little bit about your background.
So I started my career long time ago. I'm 40 years old, but I am basically when I was young, I had two main passion. One, professional handball player, but in my free time, I really like to assemble computer and electronic devices. When I was young, my dad didn't like it because I only disassemble things, didn't learn how to put it back. But later on, I started to assemble it back. Also started to do hacking. When I was 13 years old, started to do hacking. And when I was 18, I went to the military, went to the intelligence corp. I've been there for 8 years in the intelligence. After finishing my service, I decided there is a much bigger challenge than playing offensive. So I thought, what will be the biggest challenge? And then I thought about defense side. So I always like to say that basically when you're on the attacker side, you have to find one vulnerability and exploit it. But when you are on the defense side, you need to control everything, know everything, and it's much bigger challenge. So at that point, I thought about what will be the most target organization, thought about a bank. I joined Israeli Discount Bank. It's the third financial institute in Israel and did different roles there. Really enjoyed the innovation, playing with technology. And I learned that my passion was basically solving business problem using technology. So after 8 years at the bank, I decided that I want to change my career and my passion was solving business problems. So I thought, let's learn how to build my own company. So I resigned my role from the security side, crossed the line to the dark side, to the vendor side, went to 6 years period into a cybersecurity startups, basically learn how to build my own company. And 2 years ago, I started the journey of TrustMi.
Okay, I love that background. That's quite the progression, quite the experience. So, yeah, yeah, love that. So let's talk a little bit about TrustMe then. What products and services does TrustMe offer?
Sure. So when I was at the bank, I saw different cases of fraud. I did a lot of work and built a unit that basically focused on that. One of the cases that I saw was B2B payment fraud. Basically, when we're doing B2B payment, there are a lot of different transactions. And as you know, there is a big disruption today in payment in general, but it's mostly focused on the consumer side. Think about how we're doing payment as a consumer. The only thing that you need is basically your phone, and that's it. But when you speaking about corporate payment, much more complex game and not so disruptive anyway. So one of the use cases that I saw there was the B2B payment fraud. And basically when we started to dig down to that to see what's going on, we came to a report that mentioned that by 2020, there was a reported loss of $32 billion. And that's caught my eye. I'm like, okay, it sounds like it become a much bigger problem than I recognize it. And we started our own market validation because, after being in the vendor side, you don't buy anything that you see in the report. So we wanted to proper validate it ourselves. So we started the process and we originally thought that only the CFO owned the problem. So we started to approach CFOs. At the first 3 months, we were able to speak with something like 150 CFOs, mainly in the US. I would say 70% were SMBs, 20% was SMEs, and 10% big enterprises. And basically, we wanted to learn how they operate, what they're doing, and anything that they can contribute to our business. But at the end, we wanted to answer three main questions. What they're doing today, is that a priority for them? If so, how they address it today? And third, did they suffer any significant loss? And it was super interesting because everyone told us top priority. Each time that they wire big money, they are missing heartbeat because basically wire money is scary. So then I asked them, okay, so what are you doing today? And everyone told us manual controls and processes, like for example, callback procedure and stuff like that. 9 of 10 companies admitted to us that they suffer significant loss in the last few years and tell us a lot of stories about how it happened. And then we got to a meeting with someone that connected to us from the FBI. And we asked them about that. And they told us that the report that we've seen, it's only the reported cases. They estimate that the real numbers are much, much higher than that, at least 10x or something like that. Because think about it, there is no regulation that's saying that you need to disclose when something like that happens. Second, there is no real motivation because to get the money back, it's very difficult and most of the time you don't see it back. So basically, most of the cases are not being reported. So if you try to think about $300 billion loss each year, that's a huge problem. And that's what caught my eye. And I'm like, I saw it happening in the bank and I thought, can we solve it from what we know from cybersecurity and try to address it in a way that will work? So that's how it started.
Yeah, love that. And tell us about the payment flow. Is this, say, me as a CFO paying a vendor, or is it me receiving payments from my customers? Tell me about this B2B payment flow that you're
Sure.
protecting.
So we are focused on the account payable side. You're paying your vendors. So just to give a few examples. So of course, the most common case will be social engineering, business email compromise. Basically, one of your suppliers will be compromised. The attacker will basically exploit it and will use that to impersonate and ask to change bank account. And it's happening across the world, right? It's happened to Google and Facebook. One of their vendors in Taiwan was compromised. They asked to change the bank account and they lost $100 million just like that. So it's something that happened a lot, but that's on the volume side. We've also seen a lot of other cases like ERP attack. One case that we've seen recently is basically the attacker compromised one of the treasury or finance members. Usually the ERPs are not the highest security, especially if it's on-premise or something like that. So basically they got access and they just changed dozens of bank accounts to fraudulent accounts. And in that specific company, it was a very long payment terms. So usually when do you know that something went wrong? When your supplier is going to call you and say, hey, you know what? We didn't get paid. What's going on? And in that case, took them like 7 months to learn what happened, and they lost $25 million just like that. Okay. And then we saw insider fraud, and we saw another attack and different attack. And basically, it's all about how organization doing payment and to protect the organization funds.
Okay, yeah, and that makes a ton of sense. And where does your tech fit into that flow of payments as a CFO? If I'm initiating a payment to a vendor, is it integrating somewhere? Is it a step in the process? Tell me where that fits in.
So that's a good question because basically what we ask ourselves is why it's happening. What's happening today that if we change it, we can really solve the problem. So we take a look about how B2B payment flow works. Okay. And as you know, B2B payment is a very complex process. It's involved a lot of different people inside the organization, outside the organization. Most of the communication use unsecure channels such email, portals, and so on. But it's also, especially in big enterprises, include a lot of different systems. And each one of them are usually siloed and at the end manual validated. So it's like a very complex process that each part doing their own thing and passing the ball, right? But no one really connect the dots to make sure that the process itself was intact. Does that make sense to you?
Mm, yep.
And that's exactly what the attacker really like. They can literally compromise the process throughout the different stages and no one will notice. So we thought, okay, those organizations have a lot of systems. They have a lot of data already available because, especially finance system, you need to keep everything for 7 years and everything like that. And we ask ourselves, what we know very well from cybersecurity that we can use and utilize to that case. So we know how to connect different data sources. We know how to ingest a lot of data and we know how to make the sense out of that. So basically we developed the first end-to-end B2B payment security solution. We're a SaaS software that basically integrate the end-to-end of the B2B payment flow, leveraging the historical data that your organization already have and create fingerprint and baseline to what's legit and what's not, and detect any deviation across the chain. So at the beginning, I told you about our market validation and we spoke a lot of finance people. So part of what we learned from that process was first, finance people are super smart. They are really good with numbers and they are very strict on processes. So we learned that key for our success need to be low touch because usually you know about IT deployment like ERP project, very big, very long, and very expensive. So we wanted to do something that will be frictionless. So our deployment is end to end 1 week. And second, easy to use. Okay. We're not necessarily speaking with cybersecurity expert that you can give them all the bits and bytes and all of that. So it's need to be very easy to use. And last but not least, streamline your process, your way. So we are monitoring the entire process, but we are not changing the way that you're doing your business. And that's why we decided that our mission is securing payments seamlessly.
That's great, especially selling to CFOs. Love that time to value. So really quick, low touch. It's in, seeing value of the product. So I love that. So what
So
year?
just as one point on that.
Yeah.
So I was keen about value. When we decided to build a company, I was keen about solving big problem and second, value. So I asked myself, like, how we can demonstrate our value immediately. And then I'm like, okay, so we are leveraging the historical data to train the system. Can we already show you what happened in the past? So that's what we're doing today, is to show the value. We're leveraging the historical data that we're training the system and coming back a week later with first available portal that you can see everything, how it's going and be part of the payment flow and protect you for the future, but also quantify for you what already happened, how much money you already lost. And
Mhm.
if and the proof is in the pudding, because if we can show you that you didn't tell us nothing and we detect any fraud that happened without any knowledge before that, that is the proof that we can eliminate it in the future.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. That's great. Yes, as a CFO by trade, yeah, if you could come back with historical data and provide insights into historical data, I think a lot of CFOs love that. So what year did you found TrustMe?
So basically, we founded Trust Me on November 21. We'll always believe that we are in the junction between cyber and fintech. So we started on the cyber side. We closed our seed round on November 21 with Gili Ranan, Cyber Starts. It's the best VC for cybersecurity. And later on, we continue to grow the company, then build a solution, build it to scales. Our GA was in September 22. We started to do a commercial sale. We closed a couple of paying customers. And with that in mind, we went to the next round, to CSA, that happened in January 23 and in beginning. And basically, that time we wanted to add someone that come from the fintech world, and that's why we let Oren Zev to lead this round. I think, is the best VC in the fintech arena. And till today, we raised $21 million.
Okay. All right. So 21 million raised to date. So it sounds like, was it? So 4 million seed round,
Mhm.
17 million
But
series A that just happened in January. And then it sounds like bringing together best of both worlds as far as the investors. So you had the initial cyber security investor, now fintech investor. So that makes a lot of sense. And do you guys have a headquarters location or are you guys virtual?
no, we big fan of culture and DNA, all of that. So we have office in Tel Aviv. That's the headquarters. An additional office in New York. We're coming to the office, not working remotely, and doing a lot of fun while we're doing and building amazing solution.
Yeah, definitely. And tell me, what's your current team size?
So we are 40 employees at the moment, 32 in Israel, engineering, and 8 here in the US, go to marketing.
Okay. Okay. So engineering in Israel. So, and then go to market in the US and New York City. And then
Exactly.
anything you want to share around your ARR or revenue range?
So we already passed the 1 million ARR and looking forward to grow it.
Oh, that's awesome. Big milestone there. And then, of course, selling to CFOs. We heard in 2023, or at least early on, this was the year of selling to the CFOs. We got to justify the software, software that's in place or software that we may purchase. So tell me a little bit about your go-to-market motion to find CFOs.
So first, I totally agree with that. Like, especially when you're speaking with finance, you need to justify why you're doing it. So in our case, and again, that's also part of the reason that we went with the historical analysis. Organization today losing money every year today. We are saving that, and that's part of the ROI game. If I'm coming to the organization and show him that I can save him a lot of $100, 200K, million of dollars, depends of the organization volume and so on. So it's easy deal to do after that. And that's why we start usually first, let us quantify the value for you. and then let's take the decision moving forward.
Okay, and that makes a ton of sense. And how are you finding these CFOs? Are you emailing them, calling them, conferences? Tell us how you're getting in front of CFOs who can be hard to find because they're in their cube or in their office, closing the books, doing forecasts. So how are you getting in front of CFOs?
So we're still working on that, but basically we use different methods. Of course, cold calling and so on. It's also one of them. But joining relevant places that are good events. We're going to try a few of those like AFP, Money 2020, any place that we think that finance executive will spend their time. That's the place that we are going to be there.
Yeah,
But again,
yeah,
we just started. We launched the company out of stealth only on last July. So commercially marketing, we just started.
okay. And mentioning stealth, so I like to ask that. So there are a lot of different reasons for stealth, and some people just don't believe it at all. But tell us, why you decided to go the stealth mode.
So I think that once you launch a company, everyone focus on you. Everyone's try to better understand what you're doing, how it's work. So it's also competition, but also what do you have to show. So I didn't want to come with a website that say nothing. So when we started the process, we wanted to first create a very good market validation, make sure that we understand the problem, who's going to be the buyers, what value are we going to show them. While we did it, we did a lot of meetings. So I mentioned at the beginning the calls that we did before even we started the working and funding and all of that. But from the moment that we did the first seed, we grew our market validation dramatically. We spoke with hundreds of customers, now started to be much more big enterprises, different type of companies, and not only with finance people. We spoke with CIOs, with CISOs, with CFOs, of course, and we really wanted to learn a lot while we are building the solution to fit the market needs. So I think that part of the idea was that once we launch the company, we're going to have already a working product with a good logos that are already using our solution. So that's what happened. Today we have more than 10 paying customers. Most of them are Fortune 500 organization, names like Colgate Automotive, CNA Insurance, and others. So basically that's what we wanted to do. And once we have it and we felt that we are ready, then we did the launch of the company. And then the question, usually when you come as early stage company, everyone are like, you know what? I'm not sure you are early stage. We'll see. We'll see. But if you have good record with production customer that can be a reference for you, that's a different story.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I love that. And then so you mentioned so you raised 21 million to date, so seed and series A. And then tell us about any triggers or milestones that either led you to that seed round or to that series A that said you were ready for capital or ready for more capital with a series A.
Yeah. So I think that we weren't the traditional founders, meaning we didn't want to just raise money on the seed before we haven't have nothing. We had like 6 months of validation that we want to prove ourselves that that is a bigger problem. And also there is a concept of technology that was the milestone that we decided to start do the funding. And the third day is basically when we felt that we have a market fit, basically product market fit. And that's basically when we have a GA already working, and were able to sell it to a few customers and work in production. So that was basically the trigger to do the next one, because then we wanted to start working and focus on go to marketing. Before that, I was the only one that did go to market. And now we have a team of 8. So the idea right now is to see that that's working, see that the playbook that we think is working, that the sales is repeatable and predictable, and then probably we'll do the next one.
Okay. So it sounds like so with that series A, it sounds like you felt that you had product market fit.
Mhm.
You had the repeatable motion that now that you can start scaling that up with your current
Exactly.
go-to-market team. Yep. Okay. Okay, great. And then, you know, for other founders out there right now who may be thinking about a seed round or maybe that next round in the form of Series A, any fundraising lessons that you could share from either of those fundraising rounds?
Yeah, I think again, once you come with proven record, meaning again, I'm the first time entrepreneur, right? So for me, doing my homework, doing a lot of market validation, speaking with a lot of potential customers, really listen. And that's the hard part because as a founder, you always loving your ideas and you want to be able to listen, make sure that you understand proper what's the market want and how you can really solve the problem. That's one thing. And I think that happy customer that see the value and they see the solution working, that's the most important part because they will be happy to be your advocate for the next funding. And I'm keen about value. I told you that in the beginning. So that's my lessons.
Definitely. And with that Series A round, did the investors want to see, because seed, you hear a lot, selling that story, selling the addressable market, you're solving a big solution. But now with the Series A, did they need to see more data to support that round and to support your story in the form of maybe financials or customer signups or customer interactions?
Yeah. So also think about like that. In the sit down, they want to know that there is a good team that they believe in. Second, that there is a potential of idea that can be worth a lot at the future. That you have a problem that you can make good money at the end. But for the AI, definitely they want to see that it's not only idea, that there are people that willing to pay. No, that at the beginning it's like today everyone can find friendly people that say, this idea is cool and blah blah blah. But it's not the same like putting the money where you're speaking, right?
Mhm.
So for the AI, definitely people want to investor want to see evidence. Paying customer that say that they pay because they see the value, and it's not like very small deals. It need to be something that will show the potential for the future.
Yeah, appreciate that insight. And then Shai, based on where you are with the business right now, do you have a favorite number or metric that you're focused on?
Like what?
Oh, say like MRR growth or ARR growth or customer counts or use of the system. Anything that you like to
Yeah,
look at?
yeah. We're a SaaS company, so
Yeah.
yeah, well,
Yeah. Always a favorite. They are growth. And
yeah.
so, Shai, I really appreciate your experience and sharing your time today. So as we wrap up, what's coming up next for Trust Me that's new and exciting?
A lot of things. So first, we have a website, so everyone can know who we are and what we are doing. But we start to put our brand outside, and people start to react to that. But basically, go on the team, go on the solution, making sure that we're on the right track and making sure that our customer are protected and eliminate B2B payment fraud.
Yeah. Love that. So if listeners would like to learn more about Trust Me and what you're doing with the product, where should we send them online?
Trust me, AI. That's it.
All right. So it's Trust Me, but with an MI dot AI.
Trust
So
me,
if
AI.
yeah, so if you'd like to learn more about Shy and what Trust Me is doing to protect your B2B payment flow, check out Trust Me with an MI dot AI to learn more. And Shy, really appreciate your time and sharing your experience and insights.
Thank you. And last comment, I think that we are in a very different age. AI is everything, but it's also everything for the attacker side. So that's the new fight. AI vs AI. And in order to be able to protect your funds, you need a solution like us.
That's a great point. So one more question here before we wrap up. So obviously we hear a ton about AI and writing blog posts and helping us and become more efficient, do things faster. But that's a great point. And for folks like me, not really involved in the cybersecurity arena, I guess you're saying like on the other side, you have hackers who are also using AI to
Already.
help them, find their way into corporate systems. Is that right?
Yeah, it's totally that. Think about that. Till today, most of the organization, what they did, they educate the people, right? If someone going to send you a copy email with a lot of mistakes and stuff like that, ignore it, right? It's easy to detect. But first, those emails become much more sophisticated. Use ChatGPT. It craft a very good email very easily. Second, they started to do deepfake, voice calls, video calls. It's really hard to notice those type of things. So even if you have process in place, but you are still using manual effort, you're vulnerable. And that's why I believe that that's the next battle.
Yeah, that's really interesting because I know we know as CFOs we get all these different emails and trying to impersonate your boss or a support, someone on your staff, but now upping the game for videos and like you said, faking the voice and all that stuff. So now CFOs, we've got to be even more aware and use trust me to help with that protection.
Yeah, that's what we do.
That's yeah. All right, we appreciate it, Shai. I really appreciate your time today. Check out trustme.ai to protect your B2B payments. And again, thanks for your time today.
Thank you very much.